episode 11 review, of course. Titan season 4. Gaby befriends Sasha's sister, basically. She's like, Sasha Oneshan, of course she is a sister. And the point, right, is that Gaby now is gonna learn that the demons aren't actually demons. They also had a mom and a papa, and mom got killed and so on, right? And it's the Molly's fault, mostly. You can also argue who's the fault from the whole war, and the emus. You can argue it's emu's fault, the first emu, I suppose. But no, she's of course like your army killed my mom, right? Basically, right, by the whole Titan thing and so on. Destroying the gates, right, and opening up for the. Like with Aaron's mom, right? So it's kind of the same thing. A lot of dead moms, right, in this anime. Zeke's moms also got killed and so on, right? A lot of dead moms. But anyway, so she's like, you killed my mom, right? And I love my mom. She was a nice woman, right? She made cookies and everything. And the reason why I think this storyline is just incredibly force written, right? And I really mean it. I think the whole of Gaby's storyline is the worst part of the whole thing, by far. Nothing is even close, in my opinion, in Attack on Titan 2, how badly written Gaby is. Like, Gaby is the worst storyline, the worst narration, predictable, everything. But I think this here is really the pinnacle of it. Like, because she killed Sasha, that was bad because it's predictable. Not because she had to die, but because immediately when Gaby is introduced, you're like, oh, here's Gaby. She's clearly gonna kill at least one character, probably more than one character later, because she's kind of the new main character, right? So you figure immediately that she's a plot-wise more than actual character. Right? That's the problem with Gaby has the not Sasha died itself, but it was so obvious, so predictable that Gaby was gonna kill at least one character, way before it happened, right? Likewise here, now it's so predictable, and I said again, I think it's absurdly predictable, that Gaby now is gonna be like forced spooned, right? That you are bad, but we are not actually really bad, and see the difference between our people and become friends with us, right? I think it's just so goddamn forced spoon that Gaby is gonna meet these people and they're gonna be like, here's nice food for you, Gaby-chan. Here is, my mom is there too, right? Let's be friends instead, right? And it's just gonna, force her to, snap out of her evil scheme and evil plots, right? So let's speak. And it just feels the most predictable scenario ever, honestly, in my opinion. And I really wish that this didn't actually happen, right? I would much more prefer Gaby stayed in her maniac, I'm gonna murder all of them. I wish there would actually be more of the storyline, right? Than her just being like, oh, I see now, I was wrong, right? It just feels incredibly forced, I would say, the narration part here. And the secondly that I actually really don't like, honestly. I know people are like, oh my god, you can't critique the best anime ever. But I think this really is a big issue of the anime here, is that this whole thing, that is a small world thing, I think that really undermines the storytelling. I think it would be better if this woman wasn't, related to Sasha. I mean, like, she's like Sasha Oneshan, right? Like, if she had no kind of, friendship or whatever, right, with Sasha, yeah. But of course, no, she has to be. Sasha was my favorite person in the world, and the still she's gonna try to meld it with Gaby, right? So that to me, it's it's again the word I like to use here is forced, right? Because wouldn't it be better? And I really said by saying that it would be a lot better, I feel, if she was just a random girl that lost her mommy, and not she's like, why do you want to have a war with me, Gaby? My mom's dead, his mom is dead, let's be friends, right? War is wrong, right? That would have been, I feel, a lot better just in general, instead of being like, oh, war is wrong, my mom is dead, and also you killed my big sister, basically. Like, it just feels so forced that it has to be Sasha is her Oni-san, right? Come on. I think the storyline would be better if it had to be this small world thing. Some people say, oh no, it's better now because it's like it's all connected, right? And it's all prepared. But I think no. I think it makes it more cheap. I think it makes it so more forced. It has to be that the random girl that meets them at the lake is the girl that, here it is. This the random girl that Sasha saved in season 2. I think, yeah, like that's the girl, of course she is. And it's like time skip, but she's older now, and she's like, oh, you killed my sister, but I still gonna befriend you, perhaps, or whatever. Yeah, it just feels so forced because there's this internal drama that she doesn't know that Gaby. I mean, she wants to forgive Gaby generally for being a Morley, but she doesn't know that Gaby is the one that killed Sasha yet. So it's like a very forced drama there, right? Because she is trying to make Gaby see that she's wrong and for forgiveness, but then can she forgive Gabi knowing that Gabi killed her sister, right? So it's all of that, right? So it feels very, very forced upon from both aspects. I feel very forced, right? You should create this internal drama, which kind of the same lesson, I guess, for both of them, right? So I think that whole small world thing is definitely doesn't have the storyline or the characterization. It's just too much. It's too much, I say it, kind of building up on the same kind of storytelling. And like it's just gonna get worse, right? It's gonna be more of this with Gabi's storyline. So again, Gabi is like, I really feel that Gabi has a shoehorn character, right? Where everything happens to her is very, very forced, and every goddamn detail of her storyline is forced too, and all the different components also is forced. So it's basically the whole thing where you just add, even with just one of these factors, I would say that the writing of Gabi is forced, and then you have 10 of these factors that makes it like, oh my god, it's like cringy now how much of Gabi has to be into this combination, right? So the issue from a human standpoint, I mean factual now. You can be, people gonna be angry and say, no, he's the best writer ever. No, but I mean from a factual human behavioral standpoint, that all the science, all the actual factual science says about human behavioral aspects, human behavioral economy and so on, right? So you can just fact it in the thing like that. Is that it's very, very hard to create this indoctrination character like Gabi has, based on this inherent hatred for your own art or whatever. Yeah, it's incredibly hard to do that. It is, and also change people and so on. In the CIA, recently in the 50s, they tried this in World War II and so on, World War I and so on, right? And other wars, and it's just almost impossible. And the way we can look at it from like the core of human behavioral psychology is that to create a character like Gabi, and this is like technically, and I thought about this in actually Yoshi Pedal, yeah, but technically to create a character like Gabi, like with this insane, fanatism, right, her fanatic behavior aspects, you have to have a person which is really stupid, right? Which has to be really low, like that's a fact. That's a straight up fact. Every science proves that, right? So we look at the U.S. Army, right? The U.S. Army recruits people with specific intelligence for specific roles, and you don't want to recruit people that are too smart for certain military jobs, because they won't actually be good at that military job because they won't follow those orders, right? Yeah, it's like, those people can't have this job because they have to be. So basically, they recruit people in a specific. You can't be too stupid, but you can't also be too intelligent to have specific jobs. This is actually for other companies as well, right? But especially for military service, you actually have kind of like an intelligence bracket, so to speak. And this is factual, absolutely factual. So the reason that why Gabi doesn't make any sense, right, for me, is that she's so incredibly stupid to have this insane indoctrination mindset, right? Doesn't make any. That's how it is, right? It has to be really stupid to have that, fanatic aspect of my story, right? Yeah. But at the same time, this kind of thing happens with Gabi all the time, and that's why her writing doesn't make any sense, because she's incredibly stupid, right? When the story needs to be stupid, but at the same time, she's like a master escape artist. She has the perfect plans immediately. She's in prison for 1 minute, right? She immediately kills the guard and escapes, and somehow her and Falco manage to, I don't know, get through all the 100 of guards off screen, and you know what I mean? So the problem with Gabi is that it really is, as I mentioned in the reaction part, eating the cake, right, and have it too, because she is incredibly stupid, really is, to be that indoctrinated, incredibly unintelligent character, but at the same time then, as I thought about, she's incredibly intelligent in everything else, right? She's a very skilled and talented and, manipulative and all stuff, and that doesn't make it, that kind of person doesn't exist really. Like that, yeah, I don't really mean that. That person exists because to have her intelligence, right, you wouldn't be able to lie to her. See what I mean? But if you're a really, the more intelligent you are, right, the harder it is to trick that person, right? This is kind of basic how intelligence works. The smarter you are, the harder it is to trick you, right? The harder it is to manipulate you and so on. It of course depends, but especially with these kind of obvious lies. And she has seen how the lie doesn't make any sense, because she's seen the war, and she commented on that war when they sent soldiers back to the other empire, the more defeated, to kind of make the fear to aliens. So she knows they're lying to her. She's seen, it's a very much a double think, right? Like a double think, where she shouldn't really be able to do a double think, because she has seen two contradicting facts They don't mesh together. She knows these facts even before she went to paradise. So it's so hard for a person with high intelligence to be able to like see those things not fitting in, right? And of course the whole episode of her is doing this perfect escape and so on. And then we see later, right, with her and Falco and so on with the food thing, and she still is like, okay, so even if all these facts are proving me wrong, I'm still gonna be as, you know, mentally indoctrinated, right? That makes less and less sense given her general intelligence, right? So that's like, if she was really stupid, that would make more sense. But if she was really stupid, she wouldn't be able to escape so easily, right? Or do other stuff, like for example, understanding how the thing works, because she can flap and so on. I'm not saying it's a hard thing to understand how to use that the hook thing, right, to get to the blimp. But really though, if you're a very, very unintelligent person, you wouldn't be able to actually understand how that thing works, right? How it operates, because it has so you need some kind of tangible intelligence to understand how a certain equipment works, right? And again, then her intelligence level when it comes to lies and manipulation and so on, it's so low that she shouldn't be able to basically, you know, get dressed or whatever. Yeah, like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, it simply doesn't make any sense. Like, it just doesn't, like, you can't have it on the same time. You can't both be, you just can't have that kind of personality on the same time, or not personality, but I guess like intelligence traits or whatever. Yeah, like, it's just, it doesn't mismatch together, right? It's just like, you can't be incredibly talented at other stuff, but also be, how I say, she thinks it's like, here, she can eat food now, and she's like, it has to be poison or something. Oh, I can't eat their food, they're probably trying to poison me. It's like, what? Right? It doesn't make any sense that she would believe that. And then later on, when she tries to kill her with the, and also, yes, this thing doesn't make any sense, she would believe this, given all the facts she has seen, right? And then later on, when she's also trying to like, oh, I'm gonna kill this girl in front of the village, like, what's her plan, right? So she just kind of jumps back and forth between being incredibly talented or being incredibly, you know, stupid and really, really like, what's her plan here, right? But at the same time, she managed to trick the god, right? So, yeah, what can I say, right? I think the Gaby writing is just horrible. Like, she can't both be like, oh, I'm gonna kill this person in front of everyone, and then, I guess, kill them all, or something like that. That's my strategy. And like the day before, managed to manipulate and trick the god to escape, right? You can't have a character that's both being able to cognitive do X, and them doing Y, right? It's just like really weird. Yeah, it's just like this weird mismatch of her technical skills. It's just insane. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't help them, right? That I feel she's just like a kind of force-spooned, right? Literally force-spooned through every interaction to be like, oh, she's now crazy anti them. Let meet her this person with a dead mom and let her like understand and get nice food and make her understand that this is wrong. And also she's like Sasha's sister, so that's like super drama now. Yeah, like, you know, it's just, I feel it's just kind of almost cringy force, right? How it's every goddamn is fed into you. And yeah, like I said a few weeks ago, I feel every goddamn Gaby scene just makes her worse too. Like, it's everything wrong with the writing and like that, basically, all in one character. And every time, that's what people have said too. That she's basically Eren, but worse. She's like everything Eren the one was, but worse in every aspect. And at the same time, then to make up for that, she's like she's getting this like a speed run from, you know, character development speed run. You know, like get her fast to become a better character, right? Yeah, and it's like speeding through her narration to make it like a more better character. Like, Falco is a much better written character, right? So it's really interesting. And it also makes me frustrated, right? Because we see Hange earlier, and the Hange scene is really good, where she is like, oh, shut up, reporters, you must die, I don't need you anymore. That is really good, right? Because Hange has a moment there when she is basically understanding that, wait a minute, am I the bad guy now, right? So she has to see, let's go to her scene. I think the great writing of her being frustrated, she's now like against the people, right? And the other thing is like, oh my god, like, you know, I have a hard time seeing how the same person can create these two characters. This is a well-written female character, and the other one is a really bad-written female character. Yeah, I was like, how can it be in this episode? Because this in here instead is really good, right? Hange is like, oh, she's like, you know, shut up, these people. No, don't talk to me about this stuff, right? Basically, because as I mentioned in the reaction report, right, she's like used these people, right, to help her fight the evil government, to fight the royal, you know, suppressive king and so on, right, and coup that stuff, right, and she was like, we have to have, you know, freedom of speech, liberty, we need the stuff, right, blah blah blah, you know, that stuff, right? And now she instead turned into what she was fighting early season, becoming these characters like reporters, people, civilians. Just do what I want, you know. Shut up, yeah. And then of course now she's later on like, oh my god, I am turning into this evil royal leader that I used to hate, right? That I fought earlier. No, I am becoming these people by trying to silence, you know, the civilians on, yeah. So that's like a really good scene. And then that's the same episode where I have this Gabi scene which is like, oh my god, this is forced and it's cringed. So I feel it's incredibly mismatched, right? It feels like it's two different people writing these two different female characters. It frustrates me heavily. It really does. A lot of people are gonna come now and defend Gabi. Oh, Gabi, you hate it. No, I say it every goddamn time, right? The issue with Gabi isn't that she killed Sasha. It's never been the issue. The issue is that it was predictable, it was obvious, and everything afterward is even more cringy and forced and obvious. Yeah, like it's the writing of Gabi that is so frustrating, and especially comparing her to this other, you know, female character, this well-written female character. It just makes that's why Gabi is so frustrating. You're like, holy shit, man! It's like, how can this be in the same episode, right? I feel like I'm watching two different animes. I feel like I'm watching an anime for two different people, right? It is super frustrating. That's the with Gabi. I'm like, holy, she's so frustrating, and she basically is the new main character too. Oh my god. Yeah, but yeah, she's incredibly dense, but at the same time, then she is also. But see the problem, right? She's super dense or whatever. The problem with Gabi is that she is dense when she needs to be dense, then she's brilliantly intelligent when she needs to be intelligent, right? That's kind of I call it a Gabi Zoom, right? Because she's perfect at everything when the story wants her to be, right? And that's the issue with it. That whatever you semantics, whatever you wanna call her, it's only for one episode. In the next episode, she's brilliant again, or even in the same episode, right? She can be dense or whatever, and then also brilliant. So it's like she's both on the same time, right? And that's just like, how can the character be that? Doesn't make any sense. But anyway, that's the review of Attack on Titan, guys. Subscribe, press the like button. To go to Twitch now, we're gonna watch, of course, Mushoku Tensei, which is my favorite new anime, right? Really good anime. And after that, we're gonna watch, of course, Nonyon Byaru, everyone's beloved, best wholesome anime. So subscribe and see you guys soon on Twitch with Mushoku Tensei coming up.